Can everybody hear me? Usually there's never been a problem with that score.
Yeah, he's the one who has all the information.
All the information. But the IMS Bulletin, I think, is a completely different vehicle than the kind of journals that we've been discussing and hearing about. I was involved with the Canadian Journal of Statistics for some 7 years. And as Elio was talking about the Scandinavian Journal, those 7 years with the Canadian Journal came back to my mind. And there were some things that we did do with particular reference to the Eastern countries, or at least the Eastern European countries, and that is we exchanged the journal. I remember in the People's Republic of China 2 years ago looking for a copy of LAA in Shanghai, which I guess has a population of what, 10 million or 15 million. And there was one very dirty, dog-eared copy that had obviously been multiple used, and that was it. And there were many missing issues as well. And I think that it would be very good if the commercial publishers, the ones on Ingram's A list, would at least offer those journals for substantially reduced prices to countries that are of the type of the People's Republic of China and the Eastern European countries in the Soviet Union. I'm not quite certain I completely agree with this middle category either. I think Elia made a comment about Springer and the Zeitschrift. I've also been involved with communications and statistics, and I think that's very expensive. But both communications and statistics and LAA that I'm also involved with have effectively no upper bound on the number of pages that they will publish. Whereas in my few years on as editor of the IMS Bulletin and on the executive committee of the IMS, there's always a very tight page budget for the annals. And this forces the rejection rate to be very high because you only have so many pages per year. And I think it would be wonderful if the societies were much more liberal on that, or a little more liberal maybe. I mean, to increase those numbers of pages and to decrease the rejection rate. If the rejection rate is high, and the rejection rate was high with the Canadian Journal, is 70 or 80% rejection rate, then obviously those papers that get rejected, there are a lot of them, are going to go to these other journals, and they may be relatively good papers. Though I must say also that the number of people, as Shanti said, who don't heed the first lot of referees' reports, I've often gotten exactly the same paper back from the second journal, in exactly the same condition, and I send off the same referee's report a second time. LAA, I think, does give relatively good value for money, even though it's published by Elsevier and North Holland. By the way, they're not really two culprits. North Holland and Elsevier are essentially the same publisher. That's, I guess, all I have to say at the moment.
Is it true that papers get rejected because of lack of space in the journal?
Lack of what?
Space.
Well, I think they have to be. If you only can publish so many papers per annum with so many pages, then I mean, you can't have an enormous backlog. I'm not going to publish it 5 years from now. LAA will publish an extra volume if necessary.
Is it advanced as a reason? Because we have a limited number of pages and are unable to publish the paper on because of the reason for quantity?
I think so, whereas LAA had exactly the opposite policy. With the recent special issue on statistics of LAA, and with the forthcoming special issue of LAA for this conference, for this workshop proceedings, the policy was, well, you have N papers, if necessary, we'll publish it in 2 volumes or 3 volumes. They now publish 14 issues a year. And each issue is of the order 400, 500, 600, 700 pages. The special issue on statistics, well, I guess I gave my copy to Kenneth, but it's this thick. Maybe not such a huge page size, but it's thick.
So the academic press asks me how many pages you want next year.
Yeah. And then they'll charge accordingly.
I give them an estimate and they just produce it.
Then they'll just produce it. And so you can control the rejection rate and publish everything that you think you want to publish. But if I send a paper on matrix tricks to the Annals of Statistics, I'll send it to LAA.
That would be a bad trick.
In fact, I don't think the I think that these general journals maybe should not publish such specialized things. On the other hand, is LAA really so specialized? It's the leading journal in linear algebra. Publishes an enormous amount. The competing journals, such as Linear and Multilinear Algebra and the new SIAM journal, are struggling. Anyway, I'll rest my case and let the others.